Hi everyone, so today we are talking all about why you are at war with your hair. So before we get into the video, let's have a word from today's sponsor, which is me. I offer consults through my website, body typing, color typing, and everything in between. And if you like the kinds of things that I'm talking about in this video, then be sure to check those out. Okay, so let's get into the topic of the video. And the topic, I feel like, does not get discussed really almost at all on YouTube. And the rhetoric around hair is usually that there's a bias toward liking your natural hair and liking your natural beauty. And I think that there's definitely a place for that. I don't think we want to feel like our natural way of being is not beautiful, and that's not the place that I'm coming from at all. But I also think that there are plenty of circumstances where your natural hair type does not really suit your features, and that may be why you've just been at war with your hair your entire life. It's not really a matter of self-acceptance or not liking that hair color or hair texture on someone else. It's just that it doesn't work with your features. And then you may be someone with really fine straight hair, and you may look at other people and they look okay with fine straight hair, and on you it looks off. Or vice versa, you may have really curly textured hair, and on other people they just seem to pull it off, they seem to have it together, and you can never quite get it right. And so yeah, I want to show you guys some examples. So, you can see some people, they can just do this kind of wash and wear style. So we have Audrey Tautou here, and she can do this wash and wear style, but that's because of her bone structure. She probably didn't really style her hair at all. I can see someone washing their hair and just letting it air dry, and then that's just what it looks like, and I think it looks amazing on her. Blake Lively, same thing. This kind of textured look looks amazing on her, and this is something that you could probably pull off with a lot of texturizer. I'm not saying it's not styled, but it's not heat styled, all the way to the end where it just looks totally glam. So, again, we have Kim Kardashian. I mean, it looks like this could have been some sort of red carpet event, and look at her hair texture, look at how she styled it. This is something that, again, you can imagine someone having like second day hair and putting in some texturizing spray and maybe taking a curling wand to it a little bit to give it some wave, but that's not really like the end all be all of hairstyling, where it's like completely all the way styled to complete glam, completely everything, every hair in its place type of thing. And so a lot of people, especially Julia Roberts, I mean, she has a lot of texture to her hair, and she wears her hair in all kinds of ways, really curly, really tousled, all kinds of ways, and it looks amazing on her. And then, you try to do it, and you end up looking like this. And it's like, what gives? Why is it that some people just look fine with wash and wear styles or with their natural hair texture, and other people, they have to just work a lot harder or do a lot more? And this all comes down to your bone structure type. So if you've ever heard of Kibbe body typing, it's sort of like that. I have my own system that's inspired by Kibbe body types. It's not exactly Kibbe body types. It's really based on the bone structure, and it doesn't really tell you the style to wear, so to speak, or the image that you should be portraying. It only just talks about the bone structure and what is most native to your bone structure. So if you're interested in that, I think I do just by default have links down below if you're completely new here to learn about your bone structure and take the bone structure test. I have a video on the bone structure test, so you can do that. But you can see here what's happening with Christina Hendricks is that she is a sharpened type. She has sharp bone structure, and then on top of that sharp bone structure, she has soft facial features. And so what happens is that she has very sort of distinct and clean lines to her facial bone structure. And Julia Roberts, she has a lot more beveled shapes to her bone structure, and she doesn't have those soft features. So she doesn't have those round eyes, she doesn't have the soft cheeks like Christina Hendricks does, and that's why Julia Roberts is perfectly flattered, very much flattered by all kinds of texture to her hair. But Christina Hendricks may always feel like she needs something like this. She really needs something that is very polished, like polished all the way to the end, you know, every hair in its place type of thing. And you can see just how different and really how much more flattering this kind of hairstyling is on Christina Hendricks. There's really no competition. This is absolutely more flattering on her. And I can imagine, you know, if she's someone who, if this is her natural hair texture, I don't know if it is, it looks like it could be, but let's imagine for this conversation that this is her natural hair texture. She may be someone who would think to herself, oh, well, there's just something wrong with me. Like, I haven't found a way to style it right. I haven't found a way to do this just right. And the truth of the matter is she could style her hair curly. It's not that she can't style her hair curly. It's that it would take just as much time for her to style her hair curly as it would to style her hair in any other way. Meaning that the level of polishedness, the level of polish, you know, that her hairstyle requires is so high because of her bone structure that she would have to really work hard to get her curls to be very defined, very precise, and every hair in its place type of thing, which people do. I mean, there are plenty of curly-haired people on YouTube who do this to their hair. But you guys know, if you have curly hair can still be temperamental. In reality, you are probably going to get much more reliability out of heat styling your hair like this. If you have curly hair, now I have curly hair, okay? So I know how it is. Curly hair can be just temperamental. Sometimes it's a good hair day, sometimes it's a bad hair day, sometimes it turns out this way, sometimes it turns out that way. No matter how good you are at styling it, you're still going to have a lot more variability in your curly hair if you style it curly than if you were to just take a heat tool to it and just go at it with the heat tool, right? And so someone like Christina Hendricks, she's really going to notice that because she needs every hair to be in its place. She needs that kind of polish to her look. And I actually have a video called curly hair for the body types. And so there I talk about how everyone can do curly hair. It's just that there are certain things that you may find more flattering for your bone structure. So I have a video on that if you want to check it out. So yeah, so this is the thing, you know, I can see someone like her being at war with their hair because it's a bone structure thing. And so she looks so much better like this, I think, you know. And then Julia Roberts, like, look at this. It just looks fine. It looks intentional. It doesn't look messy. It looks intentional, even though her hair is objectively more messy here than Christina Hendricks' hair is here. But Julia Roberts just looks so natural, no pun intended if you're a Kibbe enthusiast. She's a flamboyant natural, and so this is why her hair looks just fine being textured. And so the other thing I want to talk about is that for Julia Roberts, okay, look at how she looks when her hair is done and heat styled and everything. How does she look? She looks just fine, okay? She looks just fine. Here, also just fine. Here, also just fine. Here, also just fine. And so if you are, and sometimes though, someone like Julia Roberts, someone with a beveled bone structure type, is going to look a little bit stiff with hair that's overdone. That's true. But in general, it takes a lot to overdo your hair if you have curly hair and if you're trying to heat style it. And so most of the time, you know, Julia Roberts just ends up looking just fine. And the difference between how Julia Roberts looks when she styles her hair versus when she doesn't style it is really very small compared to Christina Hendricks, who it really makes her look. It really makes it. It really pulls her look together to do the styling. Then you see the type of beauty that she is. You see that she is this kind of the queen-like beauty, you know? You really see it all pulled together. You see it come together and you're like, yeah, I get it. Like, this is like, I see, you know, it's like when Christina Hendricks, I mean, this is her in Mad Men, but assuming whatever, she's doing her hair and she's doing her makeup and she's going for a look, like, she did it. You know what I mean? Like, she pulled it together and it looks right. It looks like probably what she was going for. It looks like what she wanted it to look like. And again, this is what I see style as. I never tell people what to wear. I only tell people how things would look on them. You know, sometimes things can look one way on one person and they'll look completely different on another person. And there's a rhyme and reason to that, and there's a system to that. And so that's what I talk about on this channel. And so yeah, I mean, you can know these things and you can use them to your advantage to wear whatever it is that you want to wear, look however it is that you want to look. It never has been about telling people what to wear. But with this, you know, I think you can really see that her beauty is a little bit lost, and her look, her style, her look looks a bit confused because it's not pulled together. Unlike Julia Roberts, who this looks intentional and it looks cool and it just looks just right. And then it's not that big of a difference when she styles it. You know, it's like she could go either way, whatever. It doesn't make that big of a difference. So someone like Julia Roberts, she's probably not at war with her hair. You know, someone like Julia, I don't know anything about Julia Roberts, but someone like her, probably not at war with their hair. So, yeah, again, Blake Lively, same thing, you know. But you know what I will say is that you could be on the other end of this. We've been talking about curly hair this whole time, but you could actually be on the other end of this. And I see this with I see this with my clients so often. And I get a lot of clients from Switzerland, from Norway, from the Netherlands, and these ladies are often very tall, and they have that Julia Roberts bone structure. You know, they have those long lines. Sometimes they have that T silhouette like the models have, right? And what happens is that their bone structure requires more support, and so it requires more of their hair. For their hair to be able to support their bone structure, has to have more of a textured, like this, more of a textured feel, more of a heavy feel. So you guys are the types, you ladies are the types to be able to do this kind of so-called heavy hair, which is what Blake Lively has. Like, that's really a very heavy style. If anybody else wears that hairstyle, it's really going to pull them down, it's going to drag them down, but it doesn't for Blake Lively because she's so model-esque, you know. And so she, just like Uma Thurman, is the same body type. And so what's happening is that a lot of these ladies from Norway, etc., they will actually have really fine hair, really fine, light blonde hair. It's very straight, the opposite of textured. And so very wispy, fine, straight, blonde, lightweight hair. Another thing with texture is that, you know, the color also matters, because if your hair is a very light color, it's going to visually look a lot lighter. It's going to look a lot less heavy. It's going to look literally lighter if your hair is a lighter color. But these ladies from Norway who look like this, they often need a bit of texture, a bit of heaviness to their hair to support their bone structure like this. And then what happens is they're often the ones to try to figure out, how am I going to make my hair more heavy, more textured, more thick. And you never really see people who are, you know, like these tiny petite ladies really being like, how do I make my hair thicker? My hair is so fine and thick, because it's not really a big deal on them, because they don't have that type of bone structure that needs that level of support from the hair. And so you can see here, this is an example of sort of like kind of what I see in some of my clients, where their hair is very light and then it's very fine. And sometimes people have even finer hair than Uma Thurman does here. I think Uma Thurman actually styled her hair here because this looks more like her natural hair texture, which I think suits her beautifully. But some people have a hair texture like this, and so they feel like, you know, it's just, they have to add a lot of texturizer. They have to just add a lot of stuff to the hair to get it to have that weight, that body that the bone structure requires. And so that's the thing. It's not that one hair texture is flattering and one hair texture is not. It depends on if your hair texture and your hair type matches your bone structure type, or it just happens not to match, you know? And so that, in my view and in my experience, is what determines if you are at war with your hair. It's not so much that it's all in your head. I'm here to tell you it's not all in your head. You know, you may be someone who likes fine, wispy, straight hair on someone else, but hates it on yourself. Or you might really like curly, big, fluffy, curly hair on someone else, but you hate it on yourself. And I'm here to tell you that there could be a reason to that. It's not always that, you know, you have to work on yourself and there's something wrong with you. I think that there is a time and place for validation, and to say that some people do have trouble with combining like their hair texture with their bone structure. Okay, and so that could happen. That could be happening with you. And if that is happening with you, then learning about this and coming to terms with it is really going to go a long way with just being like, you know what? It's fine. That's just what it is. You know, it's like, I'm just going to choose to either style my hair or not style my hair. And I'm not going to worry that much about it. You know what I mean? I'm going to end the war with my hair, so to speak, and not give it much thought. So some things that you can do if you have this kind of situation is, if your hair is really fine and really fine and everything, you may want to add some, and you have like a more substantial bone structure where your hair doesn't support your bone structure, is you may want to add some lowlights if your hair is really light, because something that is darker is also going to look a bit visually heavier, literally heavier, so that will help to support your bone structure. Try to avoid having very, very light hair if you have fine hair already, and if you also have a substantial bone structure. And if you are on the other end of this, you know, like Christina Hendricks, there are a few things you can do. You can really lean in and try to do your hair. Let's say if your hair is really textured, you can really lean in and try to get your curly hair routine down, and realize that it's going to be more challenging for you than for other people, because the standard for you is higher in terms of how polished your hair looks. And the same goes for your heat styling as well. The standard for you is higher than it is for other people, you know, because of your bone structure, because of your features. You know, it has really nothing to do. It's not that you're seeing yourself wrong. You're right. You know, you do just happen to have a higher standard. And you can take that into account, and you can really think about that and take it into account. Maybe what you do is, you know, you cut your hair short like she has here, you know, and that's more manageable. So think about that. Think about your lifestyle, whatever works for you. But yeah, the whole point of this video is to just tell you, you know, these things happen and it's okay. You know, it really happens. It happens to people. I've seen it happen to my clients, and it's perfectly normal. And now you know. So that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Leave me some comments, leave me some questions. And if you are interested in booking a body typing or a color typing, or I also have a full report, which is the body typing, color typing essence, and then how the body and color typing come together. And so I'll leave a link to all of those down below. And I think that's it. I will talk to you next time. Okay, bye.